Guinness recognizes Sultan Kosin of Turkey as the tallest man and Jyoti Amge of India as the shortest woman.
Scattered across the world, there are people whose bodies have grown in ways that science struggles to fully explain. From record-breaking extremities to features that have inspired myths and legends for centuries, these individuals defy everything we think we know about normal human anatomy. Each one has been officially verified, and each one will genuinely surprise you. Here are 13 people with the longest body parts in the world. Number 12. Jason Rodriguez Hernandez, the longest feet ever recorded.
A 20-year-old man from Venezuela has officially broken the Guinness World Record for the largest feet.
One of the most astonishing human body part records belongs to Jason Rodriguez Hernandez, a Venezuelan man whose feet are officially the largest ever measured on a living person. According to Guinness World Records, his right foot measures 40.55 centimeters, 15.96 inches, while his left foot measures 40.47 centimeters, 15.94 inches. These measurements were officially confirmed on June 12, 2014 in Maracay, Venezuela. To understand how extraordinary this is, anthropometric data published by the National Center for Biotechnology Information shows that the average adult male foot length globally ranges between 26 and 28 centimeters. That means Rodriguez's feet are roughly 45% longer than the global average. Because of their size, he wears a US size 26 shoe, which is so rare that almost no commercial manufacturer produces footwear in that size. For years, he relied on custom shoes donated by companies and charities. Rodriguez stands 2.20 meters tall, 7 feet 2.6 inches, and doctors have linked his unusual proportions to gigantism, a medical condition caused by excessive growth hormone produced by the pituitary gland during childhood. In interviews following the record confirmation, Rodriguez explained that finding shoes during his childhood was almost impossible, often forcing him to walk to school in sandals even during rough weather. Today, his record stands as one of the clearest examples of how dramatically human skeletal growth can vary under rare hormonal conditions. Number 11. Sarwan Singh, the longest beard ever measured on a living man. Among the most visually striking human body part records belongs to Sarwan Singh, a Canadian resident originally from Punjab, India, whose beard stretches far beyond what most people could imagine. According to Guinness World Records, Singh's beard was officially measured on September 8, 2010 in Surrey, British Columbia, where judges recorded a length of 2.495 meters, 8 feet 2.5 inches, from the chin to the tip of the beard. That length is extraordinary when compared to normal facial hair growth. Dermatology research from the American Academy of Dermatology shows that beard hair grows on average about 1.25 centimeters per month, which equals roughly 15 centimeters per year. To grow a beard approaching 2.5 meters, it would require more than 15 years of uninterrupted growth, assuming perfect conditions and minimal breakage. For Singh, the beard is not just a record, but also a reflection of faith. As a follower of Sikhism, he follows the religious principle known as Kesh, which encourages believers to allow hair to grow naturally as a sign of respect for the human body. Maintaining such a beard requires careful grooming. Singh has explained in interviews that he washes and combs it daily and often wraps it for protection during sleep or travel. Measured from his chin, the beard is longer than the height of most 8-year-old children, making it one of the most remarkable examples of extreme human hair growth ever recorded. Number 10. Sultan Kosin, the longest arm span ever recorded. When scientists talk about extreme human proportions, Sultan Kosin is one of the most studied individuals in modern anatomy. Best known as the tallest living man, Kosin also holds the Guinness World Record for one of the largest arm spans ever measured. During an official measurement conducted by Guinness World Records in February 2011, Kosin's arm span was recorded at 2.75 meters, 9 feet 0.25 inches, from fingertip to fingertip. For comparison, anthropometric studies published by the National Center for Biotechnology Information show that the average human arm span is usually almost identical to a person's height. This relationship is so consistent that doctors often use arm span to estimate height when patients cannot stand. Cosin's case breaks that rule dramatically. Although his height measures 2.51 meters, 8 feet 2.8 inches, his arm span exceeds that height by more than 24 centimeters. The reason lies in a rare endocrine disorder known as pituitary gigantism.
246.5 centimeters, confirmed as the Guinness World Record as world's tallest man.
According to endocrinology research from the Mayo Clinic, this condition occurs when a tumor in the pituitary gland produces excessive growth hormone during childhood. The hormone overstimulates bone growth, especially in the long bones of the arms and legs. Cosin's wingspan is so large that his reach alone is longer than the height of most adults on Earth, making him one of the most physically extraordinary people ever measured by modern science. Number 9. Svetlana Pankratova, the longest legs ever recorded on a woman. When people talk about extreme human body proportions, one name appears again and again: Svetlana Pankratova. In 2008, researchers working with Guinness World Records confirmed that her legs measured 132 centimeters, 52 inches, from hip to heel, making them the longest legs on a living woman. To understand how unusual this is, consider the global average. According to anthropometric studies conducted by the National Center for Health Statistics, the average adult woman has legs measuring roughly 90 to 95 centimeters from hip joint to heel. That means Pankratova's legs are almost 40% longer than typical human proportions. Her total height is 196 centimeters, 6 feet 5 inches, but what makes the record extraordinary is the ratio of leg length to torso size. Biomechanical analysis by sports scientists at Virginia Commonwealth University, where she once played basketball, showed that her legs account for more than 67% of her total height. In most adults, legs account for only about 50%. Her unusual proportions gave her a major advantage in basketball during the 1992 to 1995 seasons in the United States. When Guinness measured her in Trafalgar Square, London on September 16, 2008, standing next to the world's shortest man, the contrast stunned crowds, and that moment cemented her place in human anatomical history. Number 8. Gary Turner, the longest skin stretch ever measured. One of the most unusual human body part records does not involve hair, bones, or nails at all. Instead, it involves human skin elasticity, and the record belongs to Gary Turner, a man from Caister, Lincolnshire, England. During official demonstrations verified by Guinness World Records, Turner was able to stretch the skin on his abdomen to an astonishing 15.8 centimeters.
Show me a little something. Let me feel your neck. Can I pull it? Go on.
6.25 inches away from his body. The measurement was confirmed during a record event in 2010, where judges used calibrated measuring tools to determine the maximum distance the skin could be pulled without injury. Scientifically, the reason for this extreme stretch lies in a rare connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. According to research from the National Institutes of Health,
ladies and gentlemen, a new Guinness World Record for the world's stretchiest skin, Gary Turner.
the condition affects the body's ability to produce normal collagen, the structural protein that gives skin strength and stability. In most people, skin can stretch only 1 to 2 centimeters before resistance increases sharply. But in individuals with certain forms of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, weakened collagen fibers allow the skin to stretch far beyond normal biological limits. Doctors studying the condition note that while the ability looks dramatic, it is actually a medical abnormality affecting connective tissue stability throughout the body, including joints and blood vessels. Even so, Turner's case remains one of the most extraordinary examples of how a single human body tissue can stretch far beyond what biology normally allows. Number 7. Nick Stoberl, the longest tongue ever measured on a living person. In 2012, officials from Guinness World Records confirmed one of the strangest anatomical records ever measured, the tongue of American artist Nick Stoberl. During an official measurement conducted in Salinas, California, Stoberl's tongue stretched 10.1 centimeters, 3.97 inches, from the tip to the middle of the closed lips. For comparison, Medical studies in oral anatomy published in the Journal of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery show that the average adult tongue extension is roughly 7 to 8 centimeters, meaning Stowburn's tongue is nearly 40% longer than typical human anatomy. What makes his case scientifically interesting is the structure of the genioglossus muscle, the primary muscle responsible for tongue extension. Researchers explain that tongue length differences are partly genetic and partly related to the size of the oral cavity and muscle elasticity. Stowburn's tongue allows him to perform unusual movements that most people cannot replicate. In demonstrations recorded for Guinness in November 2012, he was able to touch the tip of his nose and even lick his elbow, something anatomists say fewer than 1% of people can achieve. Despite the unusual appearance, doctors confirmed his tongue is fully healthy and functional, with no signs of macroglossia, the medical condition involving abnormal tongue enlargement. Today, Stowburn often appears at science and anatomy events, showing how even a small part of the human body can produce a world record measurement. Number 6. Zhang Ruifang, the longest human cutaneous horn. One of the strangest and most fascinating extreme body part growth cases ever documented involves Zhang Ruifang, an elderly woman from Henan Province, China, who developed what doctors identified as a cutaneous horn growing from her forehead. According to medical reports covered by People's Daily and later discussed by dermatology researchers, the horn measured approximately 6 centimeters, about 2.3 inches, when it attracted international attention in 2010. A cutaneous horn is a rare medical condition in which keratin, the same structural protein found in hair and fingernails, builds up in a cone-shaped projection from the skin. Dermatologists studying the phenomenon have published clinical analyses in the British Journal of Dermatology, explaining that the structure can grow slowly over years if untreated. Most cutaneous horns are less than 1 centimeter long, making Zhang's several centimeter growth unusually large. In medical literature, horns longer than 5 centimeters are considered extremely rare. Doctors who examined her noted that the growth likely developed from a benign keratin-producing skin lesion. Though such horns must always be medically evaluated, because about 20% of cases are associated with underlying skin cancers. Photographs published in Chinese media showed the horn curving outward from her forehead, giving it the appearance of a small animal horn, which is why these growths historically inspired legends about human horns. Although rare, the condition demonstrates how keratin-based tissues in the human body can sometimes grow into extraordinary and unexpected forms, creating one of the most unusual body part phenomena ever recorded.
这边呢？这个呢？
这也不疼，
这儿是不是也要长出来呀？
也穿。
Number 5. Lee Redmond, the longest fingernails ever recorded. Few human body part records required as much patience as the fingernails of Lee Redmond, a woman from Salt Lake City, Utah. For nearly 30 years, she carefully grew and maintained what became the longest fingernails ever recorded on a pair of hands. According to Guinness World Records, when her nails were officially measured in 2008, their combined length reached 8.65 meters, 28 feet 4.5 inches. To understand how extraordinary that is, medical studies from the American Academy of Dermatology show that human fingernails normally grow about 3 millimeters per month, or roughly 3.6 centimeters per year. At that rate, growing nails to more than 8 meters total length required decades of uninterrupted growth. Redmond began growing her nails in 1979, carefully shaping and cleaning them every day. She reportedly spent several hours each week maintaining them to prevent cracking or breakage. Scientists explain that fingernails are made primarily of keratin, the same protein found in hair. While keratin is strong, extremely long nails become fragile because their weight increases stress along the nail plate. Tragically, the record ended suddenly in February 2009, when Redmond was involved in a car accident that broke all of her nails. Despite losing them, her record remains one of the most dramatic examples of how far a single human body part can grow when given enough time and care.
Myself I would say I was going to, but they become such a part of you, you know, that was just part of my body that I nurtured and took care of for over 30 years.
Number 4. Mehmet Öztürk, the longest nose ever measured on a living person. One of the most precisely measured body part records belongs to Turkish resident Mehmet Öztürk, who holds the title for the longest nose on a living person. Officials from Guinness World Records conducted the official measurement on March 18, 2010, during a televised event in Rome, Italy. Using calibrated digital calipers, judges measured the distance from the bridge of the nose to the tip, confirming a length of 8.8 centimeters, 3.46 inches. To understand how unusual that is, anthropometric studies from researchers at University College London show that the average adult male nose length ranges between 5 and 6 centimeters. That means Öztürk's nose is roughly 40% longer than the global average. Scientists studying facial proportions explain that nose size is influenced by both genetics and environmental adaptation. Research published in the Journal of Human Evolution suggests larger noses may historically have helped humans warm and humidify cold air before it entered the lungs. Despite its unusual size, doctors confirmed that Öztürk's nose shows no signs of rhinophyma or medical abnormality. It is simply an extreme example of natural human variation. During the Guinness event, when asked how he felt about holding the record, Öztürk reportedly joked to reporters, "My nose smells success before anyone else does." And for more than a decade, no one in the world has managed to beat that measurement. Number 3. Xi Jinping, the longest human hair ever documented. Among the most astonishing human body part records ever measured belongs to Xi Jinping, a woman from Guangxi, China, whose hair became the longest ever officially recorded. According to Guinness World Records, her hair measured 5.627 meters, 18 feet 5.5 inches, during an official examination conducted on May 8, 2004. That length is longer than a standard London double-decker bus seat row and nearly the height of a two-story building. What makes the record even more remarkable is the timeline. Xi began growing her hair in 1973 at age 13, meaning it had been growing continuously for more than 31 years when it was measured. Human hair typically grows at an average rate of about 1 to 1.25 centimeters per month, according to dermatological research from American Academy of Dermatology. At that rate, most people could grow only about 4 to 5 feet of hair over a decade before breakage occurs. For Xi's hair to reach more than 5.5 meters, it required unusually strong hair follicles and decades of careful maintenance. Reports from Chinese media interviews described that washing her hair required over 30 minutes, and drying it naturally could take an entire day. Scientists studying extreme hair growth often cite her case as a rare example of how genetics, patience, and consistent care can push the limits of natural human biology. Even today, very few people have come close to surpassing her extraordinary record. Number 2. Radhikant Bajpai, the longest ear hair ever recorded. Some body part records sound almost unbelievable until they are officially measured. One of the most unusual belongs to Radhikant Bajpai, a shopkeeper from Uttar Pradesh, India, who became famous for having the longest ear hair ever documented. Officials from Guinness World Records first verified his record in 2003, when the hair growing from the center of his outer ear measured 13.2 centimeters, 5.19 inches. But Bajpai did not stop there. Over the following years, he continued growing the hair, carefully conditioning and protecting it. Later measurements recorded by regional record observers showed that the hair eventually reached 25 centimeters, almost 10 inches, in length. From a scientific perspective, ear hair growth occurs from follicles located inside the external auditory canal and surrounding skin. Dermatological research published in the British Journal of Dermatology explains that extreme ear hair growth is usually linked to androgen sensitivity, meaning the follicles respond strongly to male hormones such as testosterone and dihydrotestosterone. In most men, ear hair rarely grows longer than a few millimeters, making Bajpai's case extremely rare. According to interviews he gave to Indian news outlets in the early 2000s, Bajpai said he spent years grooming the hair daily to prevent breakage, sometimes using small combs and natural oils. His dedication turned what most people trim away into one of the strangest anatomical records in the world. Number 1. Matthew McGrory, the longest hands ever recorded on a living person. One of the most dramatic examples of extreme human body proportions belonged to Matthew McGrory, an American actor whose hands were among the largest ever scientifically documented. Born in 1973 in Pennsylvania, McGrory stood 2.29 meters, 7 feet 6 inches, tall. But what truly stunned doctors and record officials were his hands. According to measurements verified by Guinness World Records, each of his hands measured over 30 centimeters, 11.8 inches, from the wrist to the tip of the middle finger. To put that in context, anthropometric research published by the National Center for Biotechnology Information shows that the average adult male hand length ranges between 18 and 20 centimeters. That means McGrory's hands were about 50% longer than typical human hands. Medical experts attributed his enormous hand size to acromegaly, a hormonal disorder caused by excessive growth hormone produced by the pituitary gland after puberty. According to endocrinology research from the Mayo Clinic, acromegaly causes bones in the hands, feet, and face to continue enlarging throughout adulthood. McGrory's hands were so large that he reportedly wore size 16 gloves, far beyond standard manufacturing sizes. His extraordinary proportions later helped him become a recognizable actor in films such as Big Fish, where his towering frame and massive hands made him visually unforgettable. That wraps up our countdown. If this blew your mind, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. We'll catch you in the next one.